Hi, my name is Anish.
I'm Amay.
I'm Ryan.
And today, this weekend, we built AlgoFund. Now it's a bit of a play on words on AlgoFund, which is essentially a decentralized open source platform for funding open source contributions to bounties or issues on GitHub. So in today's day and age, there's a huge issue of finding volunteer developers who contribute their time to open source projects, especially with things like NPM and companies not paying out their open source developers. So we want to make a decentralized platform where you get paid for your contributions to open source.
So I'm sure we kind of been through the headache of finding a 2-year-old issue in React, and that's kind of what's blocking you. So this way, anyone can fund any GitHub issue and incentivize developers to go in and tackle it. And those developers will be paid in Algo when those issues are resolved and merged in. So because of our time constraints, Anish is going to walk you through just the funder flow to show how someone funds an issue.
Sure.
Right.
All right, so we press get started.
Easy, OAuth with GitHub. He signs in. He's already logged into GitHub. And now we have to link his mnemonic phrase. So we have one set up here. And this actually hits so it actually makes a transaction to Algorand where it links his address with his GitHub username. And we authenticate that every single time we try to do something to make sure it's actually him going on the platform.
There we go. Now everything is successful, and
you can view the transaction ID.
We can confirm that the transaction went through. So thankfully there's no scary errors this time around. Now that we've hopped onto a VPN, the mnemonic is being decoded properly. Transaction's been sent. So now we'll continue on.
So the Explorer, this page, what it does is it queries Algorand for a specific account that has a list of all the active bounties. So these are 0 algo transactions, and in the notes field, they're just a list of bounties that gets pulled from the API. So we're going to walk you through creating a bounty. Super easy, very non-blockchain experience. So anyone who's not familiar with blockchain can get on. You just paste in the issue link, how many algo you want, and as soon as you click make the bounty, it's going to take the algo out of your account, deposit it into the escrow account, and there will be a bot that actually updates that issue on GitHub. So Amay will talk about that.
So as you see, we've got this here, but at the bottom, we've also got the bot, which says that Anish Agnihotri is attached to bounty of value 10 algo.
So the purpose of the bot is to let other developers on GitHub know about this bounty that's been attached to this issue, and it will prompt them or incentivize them to really work on this issue. The other purpose it serves is letting everyone involved know the progress of the completion of the solution. So we can see that through our platform, users can apply to complete this bounty, and that will send the Discord bot a prompt, and then you can see that. And upon the founder can then choose an applicant to complete the bounty, and upon the submission of the work, that will also be updated on the bot. And at the very last step is once the PR request has been merged, the bot will complete the request on the repository, and the developer that solved the issue will be programmatically paid the bounty right away.
So as soon as you press payout bounty, so we saw that now work of value 10 has been paid out to a random applicant in this case by me, Anish Agnihotri, and it's represented on GitHub, and at the same time it's represented with the completed bounty sign on our platform. As you can see here though, we also say that please fill out our survey. So actually Aditya will talk about that now.
So finally, we essentially collect user feedback about their experience with the bounty through the SurveyMonkey API. And this is really important because this actually sends it to our Azure AI backend, which performs sentiment analysis on it. And on that, we actually build a recommender system for future bounties. So this way, it really streamlines the user experience and creates for a more intelligent experience.
Yep. So we really merge the best of both worlds, where we have blockchain to solve the decentralization problem of how we can incentivize not only developers, but make sure they get paid. And at the same time, we have sentiment analysis with AI to make sure that people keep coming back. All of these bounties that are generated right here have a weightage attached to them, which is generated based on the feedback that we get from our users and Azure's API. And then only the bounties with the highest weightage are shown first, for example, on our landing page. So altogether, that's AlgoFund. We hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer them or walk you through our flow for how we used Algorand in the back end.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
So my first question, as a developer, how do I sign up to the platform? How do I register an account? Could you walk me through that?
Yeah, so the account consists of two things. So an AlgoFund, it's your GitHub account, your GitHub username, and it's attached to an address on the Algorand blockchain. So when we ask you to put in that mnemonic, that's the mnemonic you're going to use to sign all the transactions you make to the escrow account and the identity verification account that we've already created on Algorand. So those accounts basically have transactions full of notes about what your user is doing, what boundaries you signed up for, what your GitHub username is. So every single time you try to make an action like apply, like submit, it will match those up to make sure that you're who you say you are. And a really great part about using Algorand actually, because we come from an Ethereum background, Ethereum's kind of clunky, so things take like a while to load, right? Every single step that you saw there with the GitHub bot posting to the issue, all of those are Algorand transactions logged in the blockchain. So with Ethereum, we'd have to wait like 30 seconds for those to show up. But those were just dynamic on the fly. Algorand pulls it down, puts it on. That was actually great. Like, we were surprised at how easy it was to do that.
To show you what we're doing actually behind the scenes, in terms of using the API and using both the blockchain, I can actually show you that. So we hit get started and we have the OAuth with GitHub. So we wanted to entice developers to join. So the first step is just GitHub, super simple, and you can sign in. So I'll actually just hold this for 1 second. Have it open here. I'll just log out and I'll redo the sign-in flow and I'll show you the console so you can see what's going on. So I'll just clear the session. So we save the mnemonic in your session storage so that it's convenient to cross instances. You don't have to type it over and over. So to show you what happens.
And of course, we never send the mnemonic out. Like, that's all in the browser.
All in the browser. So we press sign in with GitHub, which starts our OAuth provider. And then it says, please set up your mnemonic passphrase. So we grab our mnemonic passphrase right here.
Without spaces.
Without spaces, yeah. That's what broke it the first time around, the decoding. So right there, paste that in, ID up, right there. So we've got the mnemonic passphrase there. We press submit. And you can see that a transaction ID is generated. We sign the transaction, and then
if you look at that on the algoexplorer.io, you'll see in the notes field that it's basically your GitHub username. And when we query this transaction, we can figure out what address you are by checking the send field. So all of it goes to the identity account. So when we do any action, we're verifying against that identity account.
So as you saw on the algo chain, this is the base64 encoded text that we had with the transaction. And when we paste that in, and we decode that to UTF-8, you can see my GitHub username.
You can pick editor view directly, and you have the decoding.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Here, editor view.
Oh, all right, even better. I didn't even realize that. See, we learn something every day. It's a fantastic platform. So so we have Anish Agnihotri and the GitHub username. So we had the identity account so that we could link the identities and the GitHub usernames with the wallets. And we had
the escrow account for all the funds.
It's the first time you sign in that it creates the identity, or every time?
Only the first time. So if I do it again right now, so if I show you, I log out, and then I press get started, sign in with GitHub again. And if I paste the same mnemonic again, oops, let me just grab the mnemonic, copy, paste. So if we've got the mnemonic again and I press submit, this time it only saves it to local storage. As you saw, there's no transaction being made because we've already got it in session storage. So if I do, right there, so it's saved for the user in the future up until they clear their cookies and they're clearing their local storage.
How do you manage the secret key of the escrow account?
Okay, so the way that works right now is, and we know this isn't the best solution, but we have a node server that actually makes calls to the escrow account powered by the GitHub bot. So the GitHub bot is the one that's kind of unlocking all the funds that get paid out by sending requests to that Express server. And the only thing that Express server does is manage the escrow account. It has the keys, and through our GitHub bot, we know when that request has been merged, and it sends the correct things to either release it back to the funder or release it to the developer who finished the bounty.
In the future, we definitely make use of more Algorand features if we had the time. So things like multi-sig wallets so that we could split across and maybe make it a bit more decentralized so that instead of just one of us holding the keys, the private keys for the account, all four of us have it, and it needs the power of four, the rule of four, in order to authenticate any transaction that goes through. But for the time being, we stuck to the simple so that we could just get the hackathon going.
No, my question was, how did you guys come up with this idea and what incentivized you to build this?
So I guess it go back to my story at the intro, right? Like we use React a lot, and like even though it's so popular, it's still open source, and Facebook can't manage every single little bug that people report, right? I remember there's a bug using npm 5.6, which I had to use for another package, but which wasn't compatible with one feature of React. And I raised the bug report. It sat there for 2 months. I mean, I can show it to you, but that was what was blocking me on my project, and there's nothing I could do about it. So if people run into this issue and they can fund it with their own Algorand, maybe we could have open source developers look into it, spend some of their precious time instead of like giving it away for free.